Greetings and welcome to the Recombobulation Area. My name is Dan Schaefer. Thank you for joining us. The 18th annual Milwaukee Film Festival is happening from April 16th through the 30th, with nearly 250 films screening as part of the festival. The Recombobulation Area is proud to be a community partner on 3 films in the Documentary Festival Favorites program: The Dads, Seized, and Your Attention Please. If you missed it last week, we had the opportunity to talk with some of the filmmakers behind Your Attention Please, so be sure to check that one out. But today we are joined by the new marketing director at Milwaukee Film, Milan Zori, whose work you might also be familiar with as the legendary Milwaukee illustrator Dwelephant, and also just an all-around good guy, good Milwaukee dude over here. Milan, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the Recombobulation Area.
Dan, I'm very nervous being on this podcast.
You are? Why are you nervous to be on this podcast? We're just hanging out.
I know, but this might be one of the most credible things I've ever been a part of.
Well, you know, I'll just have to go destroy some of my credibility to to make this really happen. But thanks so much for talking with us. I'm very excited about the Milwaukee Film Festival that's going on. I'm excited that you have made an illustrious return to Milwaukee Film. But before we get into some of that, the festival kicked off last Thursday. So how's everything been going so far?
It has been going really well. We are all pleasantly surprised at how packed, at the number of screenings that are packed. Like, Sunday, I think it was one of those things where the sheer walk-up numbers, just everybody got a great reception. The filmmakers are happy. You all are partnered with us for 3 films that have had great crowds. The filmmakers are enjoying themselves. We have happy hours that are sponsored by different groups here in town. And yesterday, it was hard to find a seat. Like, it's just, I don't know if it was the extended cold winter or what, but people seem ready to have something to do.
Yeah, maybe it had something to do with the crazy weather we were all experiencing last week too. You know, people wanted to get out, but maybe not like make their plans fully an outdoor experience just yet. And
Right.
just could go down to the Oriental, go down to the Downer, and enjoy themselves there.
Yeah, we're capitalizing on the frigid spring here in Milwaukee.
You know, there's trade-offs to everything, right? So it's so
I'll
we've
take it.
got this. So the festival kicked off with the Uke documentary, which I'm really excited to see at some point. I wasn't able to make it last Thursday, but did you have a chance to check that one out? And what has that film being part of the festival, you know, brought to the overall experience?
I mean, selfishly, for this to be my first year back and have that be the film that kicks off the festival, I love Bob Uecker so much. Just devastated when he passed. To have not only the team from September Club work on it, who probably contribute more to our entertainment from right here in Milwaukee than people realize, but I very familiar with Michael Volman, one of the 2 directors, and I don't know, it was just a beautiful moment. Like, the city was very excited. The first screening in the biggest theater we have sold out before tickets even went on sale to the public.
Amazing.
The second screening, similar thing. Like, as soon as it was like hours before that second one was full. Not a shock. People love Bob. And one of the coolest moments, and one of the things I love most about working for Milwaukee Film is, we Miller Coors donated a ton of Miller Lite in honor of the screening, and the entire audience and filmmakers from the stage, we did a toast to Bob in the theater. So it was just a very special moment. And I think from there, it's just like, it just sort of let everyone know, like, this is the tone for the festival. We're just going to celebrate together and have a good time.
That's so amazing. I mean, I think it makes me think of the day after we found out that Euchre had passed, and all of the people were going to the statue at
Yeah.
American Family Field and leaving Miller Lights there in front of the statue as a tribute to him, and to have this, locally made documentary, be part of this festival, have its premiere at the festival, and to have that type of moment is pretty special.
Yeah, it was wonderful, and it's just one of those things that I'm lucky to be working at a place that not only has these connections with the local filmmaking community, but like our programming team, it's even stronger than when I left the first time. But if they have their minds set on something, they figure out a way to make it happen. And it was just no question when it was like we need to have this film be the opener for this year's festival.
Hmm. So, what are some of the other ones that you've been interested to check out over the first few days, and what's on your schedule for the rest of the festival? I mean, it's a 2 week festival, so there's a lot of films. There's
Yeah,
a lot of options to get to.
it is. It's a 2 week festival. For me, with the work that I'm doing, week one is more work than watching.
Yeah.
And so week 2 is when I get to go in and start seeing some more stuff, but, we've got I'm really excited for Space Cadet. I Everyone at work is probably tired of me talking about it, but I'm a big Kid Koala fan. He's a DJ, he's part of Deltron 3030. He, for years, has made his own music videos, and he created this film that's for all ages, but it is a stop motion animated film, about a little girl who has to go into space, finally realizes their dream of going to space, but it means they might have to leave their robot best friend. Um, so I'm very excited to see that one. I'll be seeing that next week. I was chatting with the editor from Barbara Forever, which is another documentary from our arts and artists category. Looking forward to getting to see that one. And then, to be quite honest with you, like, and I'm not just, I mean, it might be a little homerism, but tonight's the first Milwaukee show. We have two
Mm,
Milwaukee
yeah,
shows,
yeah.
music video show. Those are always my favorite because I never use the term local filmmakers, even though they are local. It's just Milwaukee has this insanely rich filmmaking community. And I've had the luxury of working with some of them at some of my day jobs in the past. But just to sit there and see the work that's being made, and it's all wildly different subject matter, wildly different styles, but there's so much overlap. You might see like Spencer Ortega's name in like 5 of the films, or maybe there's like a Brandon Stearns showing up to do some cinematography. It's just like this lovely thing where everybody pitches in and makes great stuff happen. And those always have enormous crowds. It's just like a big celebration of the city. Milwaukee loves Milwaukee, and
It's true. And why
but at the
not?
same but at the same time, a lot of our out of town guests love Milwaukee. Like, the people that come here love it, they hype it up. We get a lot of guests because of the good time people have here in the city and the reception they have, so for me, that's the biggest stuff. And then we've got, like, our centerpiece screening is, oh my god, I'm blanking on the name. It's about cheesemongers, like a cheese competition. Hold on, I'm gonna get yelled at for this one. I think it's the Big Cheese. Yes, the big cheese. There may or may not be some cheese tasting that happens before it. Um, but I don't know. Again, it's
What a
just
uniquely Wisconsin Milwaukee experience that you've got there. That's terrific.
we went from uke on opening night to cheese in the centerpiece. The closing night film is a Paul Rudd film, with Nick Jonas. There's nothing Wisconsin in it, but still worth it. Like,
Yeah.
every
Well, you were talking about the Milwaukee show, and I do feel like, there are all these different stereotypes about Milwaukee, but also just like the way that people think about the creative industries here, or music, or whatever it might be. And I think, it can be overlooked sometimes that Milwaukee has this really cool community of
yeah.
filmmakers, of people who are involved, in the filmmaking industry, whether it's documentaries, whether it's features, whatever it might be. I mean, what do you think is, part of, along with, of course, the influence of Milwaukee film, but what do you think is part of, driving that in the region here?
I don't To be honest with you, I moved here in 2003, and I didn't have any sort of preconceived notion about Milwaukee. I love the city. It clicked with me. I've been able to support myself creatively here. I Personally, I think the thing is this city is filled with so much talent in all creative levels, like chefs, musicians, DJs, painters, any of it. But there's like this, I think people forget that, like, good art is made everywhere. it's not exclusive to a bigger city or to a coast. That's such a tired thing to say. Um, but I've always thought deep in my heart that because we have so many cold months,
Yeah.
you have nothing but time to get better at your craft. And so then what happens is people are like, "Hey, it's snowing, I'm bored, like I'm working on this thing, you want to come over help out?" You start making this beautiful stuff and then everyone's pushing each other, making better stuff. You come out, everyone's very supportive and helpful. I don't know. I think it's just this natural like nurturing of our creative talents, and then nice weather hits or a festival hits and it's time to show it off. And I don't there's nothing different about what we produce here than like the best things you might see on a screen anywhere else. You know,
Hmm.
it's easy to dismiss it as like, well, you live there, of course you're going to say that, but like, no, man, like there's just some really great. I'm, I'm gonna swear I can't fight this. There's
You're
some real.
okay.
There's
You can
just so much.
swear.
There's so much great shit made here every day, and I think it's just it's everyone in Milwaukee knows it. People outside just don't, and now they're like they're done being lazy. They're noticing, and they're going to talk about it more. They're going to come out and support it more.
Hmm. It's such a it's such a special thing. The Milwaukee has this, to make another Brewers connection here. That special sauce, right? We've got that special sauce in with the beer and the cheese and the euchre
Yeah,
and all that. But it's just like you said, it creates this unique environment. The fact that we kind of all have to hibernate for a few months, right?
yeah,
And I think it makes people consider things differently, and I think it makes people gives people some time, to sit with those ideas and let them kind of simmer and grow in certain ways. And the film festival has certainly, grown just in tremendous ways over the past, it's 18 years now, right? So I
yeah,
remember when I was first my first full-time job in Milwaukee media was at a place called Third Coast Digest, RIP.
yeah,
Um, and I was one of the first things that I did, because I was hired in September of 2011. One of the first things that I did was help coordinate our coverage of the Milwaukee Film Festival, because at that time it was late September, early October
yeah,
festival, and just like helping freelancers get access to review some things, and going to the opening night, and reviewing some of the spotlight films on my own. And it just really gave me a window into a world of Milwaukee creativity that I hadn't really seen just yet. And this was,
yeah.
and this was 15 years ago. And just to think of how much the festival has grown, how much Milwaukee film has grown in, acquiring the Oriental Theater and being the shepherd of this terrific property on Milwaukee's east side, and being like the physical presence along with, the people programming these different festivals. Like, now that you're back at Milwaukee Film, have you had some like time to reflect on, just the overall organization's journey, the festival's journey,
Yeah.
over this time too? And what are some of your takeaways with that?
I mean, it is. It was wild. It's wild to come back and have like more staff. uh, I don't know. It is just this thing that has sort of slowly and very, I think, organically grown and evolved. I think it is. I left. So I worked there from 2012 to 2017. I left right before the 2017 festival. We had just announced we were taking over the Oriental Theater, which was a huge, like, yes, we should be doing this. The Downer was always a dream, and then this past year we bought the Downer Theater outright.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but I think to be able to, it's an organization that's run by people who genuinely love Milwaukee, which I think is maybe most important, and truly love film. Like we live up to our name, and we service both of those things. And for us to be the folks that are like guiding and curating the things that are at both of these historic theaters, it's a very authentic experience to have. I think our, you know, like the board is exceptionally supportive. It's just a wildest mix of people from all walks of life, all walks. Some people that have been there since I first got there, they just love it and care for it. Same with the donors. Like the support has been ongoing. It's not just like 18 years of us making stuff. It's 18 years of some people supporting every single year, being members, all that stuff. So just the scale and the volume of it is pretty impressive now. The festival itself runs like this well-oiled machine. Our ops team is just on top of it. The cinema staff, like it's beautiful to walk into that theater on any given day and you can talk to the person buttering your popcorn about film and they have a strong opinion about a filmmaker. So like it's just from top to bottom people that care, which is really
Hmm.
lovely, and that was a big thing for me to come back. Like, I needed to be doing work again that, like, put forth some care for the city I live in, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that that really comes through in a number of different senses because I think it's, like you said, if everybody from the director of the festival down to, the folks serving your popcorn have care about this film. It's like I
Mhm.
always think about this with people who are, working in media and stuff like that too. You got to be a little bit nuts to like
Yes.
pursue this path and I think it's any creative industry, or event like this that you have to be a little bit nuts to really get the full experience out of it and to really make this your calling, your passion, however you want to characterize it. And I think that that comes through when you attend films at the Milwaukee Film Festival, but also I think, and you've been directly a part of this in a number of ways too, the visual look of the the
Yeah.
program books and the way that like every and obviously you're the marketing director now, so like this is it has to be something you think quite a bit about, just about how the look of Milwaukee film and the look of the festival, and the way each of these things are packaged. Like you've illustrated a number of these program book covers, you've
Yeah.
been a part of this from the marketing director. How intentional is like the look of everything that happens in Milwaukee film
It
too?
it's a big I mean, it's very important to us, and I think it's getting more important. The bigger the organizations become, the more important it becomes. Because you wanna look it's like you wanna put on your nice clothes for for the fancy dinner or whatever, but
Right.
yeah, it's like we have, the Oriental Theater is one of the most gorgeous buildings in the city, and that sets an unrealistic bar for the look and feel of everything. So we have to match it. Every festival needs to feel like something special, so finding a different artist every year to do it has been a great tradition, I think, of the organization. It's also a way to support an art form that's not directly supported in a film festival. Try as we try as best we can to just like always use local folks for everything. A lot of our if you go to a film, like the trailers you'll see or the commercials beforehand, we're working with different creative agencies here in town because they employ a lot of the local filmmaking community.
Hmm.
So you're just getting this it but it's this the desire is to make something that just feels like a moment, like here's this 15-day moment. It looks this way. It's just good vibes all around. It's these two gorgeous theaters, people that want to hang out. It's really just trying to elevate the experience for folks so it's not like a regular Friday night you're watching movies.
Yeah, for sure. And it also, I think, along with that, like the kind of branding aspect of it too, there's like a sense of place I feel with the Milwaukee Film Festival on the East Side too.
Yeah.
When the film festival is happening, like obviously there's screenings all the time at the Oriental in particular, and also with the Downer. But I just also feel like there is this specifically East Side
Yeah.
vibe that there is with it, and some of the other events, panels, what have you, that are happening in and around the festival often are happening also on the East Side at various places there. Are there any of those that are have particularly jumped out to you as piqued your interest for this year's festival?
We had this well, the coming up, I think it's this Sunday, prior to the screening of our Fugazi documentary, the band.
Yeah.
There's a panel that features the director who made the film, Dan Didier from September Club, who's not only made music documentaries, but I believe is the subject of one right now. um, and then Sahan, who I've never met, and I forget his last name, but he authored a book about, or is writing a book about Fugazi. He did the Die
So
Kreuz.
he did the D. Kreutzen book.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sahan Jaisari, a longtime music writer in Milwaukee who I
Yeah.
actually worked with back at Third Coast Digest in those early years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I've seen his name just forever. Like it's
Yeah.
but that one to me is, I think, like one, and it happens so sort of last minute, but very organically. And this is sort of the way the organization operates. It's like we all started talking, and it's like, well, we should get Sahan to interview the director. And then it's like, well, if we're going to make it about music documentaries, like we should get Dan involved. And so then it's okay, well, who's friends with them? Who can reach out and make it happen? And then you wind up like, I bumped into Sahan, and it was the first time I met him at like Cafe Corazon. And I'm like, hey, we need to get you in the festival somehow. Like you need to get in.
Yeah.
But that was a big one. Our programming team set up one with last weekend. It was a documentary summit. So it was like 2 sessions about documentary filmmaking. And there were some local filmmakers, some visiting ones, and then Kartemkin from Chicago came up, and that was packed. It was Eastside Library. I think it was like was it a Friday? Like from noon to 4, I think it happened, but it was packed. And that's just like a really lovely thing when that happens, where it's like, hey, this isn't a movie. Like you're going to be sitting and talking and learning, and people want it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very cool. And I think, I have to imagine that there are within the readers of the Recombobulation area, I have to imagine there's a few folks who are going to be pretty into the documentary
Yeah.
programs as well. The Venn diagram's
Oh,
got to
yeah.
have a pretty significant amount of overlap with people who might go see documentaries at the film festival and might read the Recombobulation area, which is why I wanted to be a community partner on a number of those documentary films too. So folks who listen to this podcast, who follow this publication, do check that stuff out. They're Milwaukee Film is bringing documentaries all year round, and so be sure to check those out too.
Yeah, thanks for the help, by the way.
Yeah, anytime. So we've gone more than 20 minutes without talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, which for you and I is probably the longest we've ever gone without talking in a conversation without talking about our beloved Milwaukee Bucks.
Is that a sign of growth, professional growth?
Perhaps, or maybe it's just a sign of the Bucks missing the playoffs for the first time in 9 years.
The only part of me that, man, I don't even know how to phrase this. Like, the only silver lining in them not making it is I'm not missing the games because I'm working at the festival.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, it was sad.
It was my least favorite regular season in
it was a
since
tough
the
one.
pre-Giannis years, probably, but it was rough. All the Giannis trade stuff was rough. The Doc Rivers of it all was rough.
Yeah.
But now we got a coaching search that's ongoing. My friend Eric Name reported yesterday that there were, I don't know, interviewing or had met with Taylor Jenkins, the former Memphis coach and the former Bucks assistant coach. It feels like kind of a fork in the road off season in so many ways.
It's weird. It's a weird one, but
yeah,
I'm not sad that Doc is gone.
yeah,
That's the diplomatic way I will say that.
That's a very charitable way to say. And I guess I'll just say it then, that Doc Rivers did a terrible job as coach, and he probably should have been fired a year ago. And this experiment absolutely didn't work, as much as I think we did need, a different coach after the Adrian Griffin experience was not going well. Needed some professional coaching in there, but this didn't work. And
when he got hired, I got a text from my friend. You remember Stephen Kaleo? Used to work at Radio Milwaukee.
Yeah.
He's out in Philadelphia now, and when they announced Doc was hired, he just sent me a message. He goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." But I did not have the same excitement of that big news as I did like when we got Dame a couple years ago. Like that was a shock, This was just like, oh no, this is our job. So hopefully it's all past us. I also feel like Eric Name should be the coach.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
He's been along for the ride. He knows what everyone needs. He's got a good rapport with Giannis. What else do we need here?
What else? He's had a few conversations with John Horst over the years. He knows what he values in as a GM. We'll get Eric to crunch some X's and O's like he always does over at the Athletic. So yeah, but I'm really interested to see. I know one of the guys that Eric has talked about as a potential coach as well is Sean Sweeney, who was an assistant coach back with the Bucks in
Yeah,
the Jason Kidd years, and is currently, I think, the lead assistant for the San Antonio Spurs. So seems to be doing well for himself there.
yeah.
Um, and so he's another, I think, name to watch in this coaching search. I wonder if they're going to get sucked in by the like the same thought process that brought them to Doc in certain ways, right? Like, oh, we need this big name coach to fit with this more kind of veteran heavy roster. Whereas I think, clearly Doc is past his prime as a coach and then some. But like to also talk about like just somebody who's younger, who's kind of raised in the analytics era of the NBA, who understands, the rapidly changing dynamics in the league. And I think we're seeing a number of younger coaches who have found success in the league. Jordan Ott in Phoenix took a team that, was seemingly in crisis and brought them back to the playoffs, and Dagnall in OKC, and so many of these other kind of like next generation coaches. I think that's who I'm hoping the Bucks are looking at for a coach. And then there's the big question hanging over all of it of what's going to happen with Giannis. And I've been clear on my opinions on this. I'm firmly in the keep Giannis.
Oh yeah.
Please don't leave Giannis. Let's do whatever we can to keep
Long as
Giannis in
yes.
Milwaukee. Never leave us. Don't go anywhere. Definitely not to like Miami or whatever. Um,
Oh
but
god.
I think, there's so many Bucks fans that I'm annoyed with right now who are just like way too quick to put Giannis in the trade machine and ship him out. Like I want, this guy has done everything that we could have ever hoped as a superstar, leading this team, leading us to the title 5 years ago and everything else. And I don't want to go. I know you were a Bucks fan before Giannis. I was a Bucks fan before Giannis. I don't want to go back.
No, I don't either. I mean, sure, it was easier to get tickets.
Yeah.
But like, no, this has been a treasure. Like this moment in time is a treasure. I've been I'm with you. I've had too many people who are allegedly Bucks fans that will just very matter of factly be like, "Yep, it's time to ship him out. Get what we can for him while we still can." I'm like, "No." Like, we
No.
keep him. We surround him with people. The coach thing, I'm always I wish there was a way to, just, like, be a fly on the wall for a minute when they're having these conversations because I everybody always seems very scared of, like, the young wild card coach that was, like, doing things a little bit differently because there's a name, like a flashy legacy name that you might be
Right.
able to pull in, and I'm like, "But that you're just like you can't hire someone based on, like, a thing they did great once."
Right.
Like, I don't know. So I'm hoping that, like, this ownership group will let Horst do his thing, that they will think about, like, the future and not think about, like, what is a veteran coach name that we can bring in. Although
Like we could just use it as an example, like Tom Thibodeau, right? He was,
right,
you
well,
know,
what I was gonna say, though, was I was like and I wanted to ask you this because I saw someone today be like, "What happens if Steve Kerr doesn't go back to the Warriors?"
yeah.
Like, damn, how would you feel if they interviewed Steve Kerr to coach the Bucks?
I'd be, I mean, I would be interested. I think he's a really good coach. But I also think I think the chances of that happening are like slim to none. Like I think, you know, going from what, 10 years in Golden State, running Team USA basketball now, like
Right.
that, whatever job that he's going to take next is not going to be in a market like Milwaukee. Like I could see him maybe taking the Bulls job, right? That job just came open too.
But does he
Um,
not like win but he likes winning. I mean, he should
yeah. But his history with the Bulls, maybe
Yeah,
he could turn that ridiculously mismanaged program around, but or he could go the front office route. Maybe he's, um, you know, grinding tape for 10 years, coming up with ways to get Steph Curry open. Maybe he would want something a little bit different too. But that's I guess what I'm worried about is just like Steve Kerr, Tom Thibodeau, like, Coach X who might get fired if their team comes up short in the playoffs this year. Like that's not the direction I think we should go, because that would just seem to signal to me that they're just kind of like going back on the cycle that they've been in with since the Dame trade, since Budenholzer's firing. Like, hey, let's cobble together these veterans and this big name coach and let's make a run for it. Like, I think it has to be, they're going to have a lottery pick for the first time in a long time.
Which is easy.
Which is crazy. I'm gonna have to like pay attention to draft boards for the first time since 2014 or whatever. I don't know any of the. I don't watch college basketball, so I don't know really any of these guys. And so like they'll have a young, and I think some of the young players that they have managed to bring in and who have, I think, been successful. AJ Green, I think, has been good. Ryan Rollins, I think, was a revelation this past year. Like, I think you need a coach that's going to better connect to that generation of players, instead of like the Giannis, Dame. Let's get a guy in his 30s who can, just do the old guy running it back routine. Like, I want some of these next generation thinkers, and it makes me think of like, the NFL too, where it's just like all of a sudden it was Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur and all this kind of like young generation of coaches. Like, I feel like that's coming to the NBA here too. And like, if the Bucks go the other direction and hire the big name, that would I think, to me, at least be kind of a disappointment.
So I grew up close to Pittsburgh, and I've been a lifelong Steelers fan. And what the Bucks did, bringing Doc Rivers in, and what we're talking about here, like taking like a coach that maybe gets let go during the playoffs, if they hire that old name, they're doing the Steelers thing. Like the Steelers bring in Mike McCarthy to just kind of like maintain this status quo that gets bounced from the playoffs first round every year, instead of looking at these like young guys who are coming under the McVay tree or whatever, and like have these like very creative ways of coaching and drawing plays. I also think like what you're saying about having like some new thinkers in there, like the team itself isn't terrible. You have some promising players. You need a coach that can come in and maximize the players they have. It's like any good leader in any business. Like, it's not about like, I need to only have like 9, NBA All-Star MVPs. Like, no, it's like, who do you have and how can you get the most out of them?
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think somebody like Doc can do that, because it's like their way is more precious than adapting to what they have.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I've never coached. Like, who am I? I'm just a marketing director at a film festival.
Well, you're a lifelong Bucks fan, and you're, again, anybody who was a fan of the team before the Giannis years, I think, has extra credibility in these conversations. All these like Gen Z Bucks fans with like Stan Twitter accounts, just like, let's ship Giannis to the next the next city and rebuild. Like, no, it's not going to rebuild. If we lose Giannis, if Giannis goes somewhere else, if he's traded, whatever happens, like, we go back to being the dregs of the league. We go back to being the Wizards and the Kings and the other teams that we were, had more similarities with before Giannis came around.
And you will see most of those like vocal trade Giannis like fans just disappear from the face of the earth. They won't come back until we're winning again. But yeah, I'm with you. Also, like, if it helps, whatever coach, like if it seems more enticing, I can talk to our programming team. Maybe they can help out programming some films. Giannis, if he's still in town, wants to come hang out at the festival, I'll get him some comp passes, like whatever it takes.
Sounds great. Maybe have a Greek film spotlight next year to keep him here.
Whatever he needs. Like, maybe we just get Giannis on a separate call, Dan, the three of us, and we work
there
this
we
out.
Go. Or bring in his brother, bring in Thanasis, have Thanasis's picks for the festival.
All of them. Every brother gets a program. Like,
there we go. Yeah, that sounds great. Well, Millen, you've been generous with your time, and I appreciate you talking with us here at the Recombobulation area. Any final thoughts here on the festival, and maybe like one recommendation for the Recombobulation area readers and listeners here, for something to put on their list for the rest of the festival. I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you did put me on the spot. Let me think about this one for a second. I would say if you've never been to the film festival and you want to get a taste of like what like all the excitement can be, truly go to the Milwaukee music video showcase, because you're not only going to get to experience like our filmmaking talent, you're going to get our local music talent, but you're going to see what it is to be like excited, like the excitement of the event, the energy of the event. It's an easy way into the festival, and then from there you can just start going to anything, but you're gonna laugh with strangers, you're gonna clap with strangers, you're gonna have a great time with your friends and neighbors. To me, that is like, if you've never been, that's a good starting place. Just come to that, have the best time, and then from there, like, we'll find you other things to watch based on what you like. Just ask anybody with a staff pass. We can help.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us at the Recombobulation area. Do go check out the rest of the Milwaukee Film Festival, running until April 30th here in the city of Milwaukee. Millen, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, Dan.